Whoa! What is up? This is Dak Dirty Spoon from the IWC, and this is the wrestling recap making its triumphant return July 16th, 2013. First off, I'd like to apologize for being gone for a while. I had PC and then I had camera issues. That's why this might look a little wonky in the beginning until I get everything set up. But I am back and I am ready to talk professional wrestling with all of you. First off, this is really going to be more of a recap of Raw and the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. First, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view was excellent. I was sharply surprised, even with all the not fake finishes, but with all the wonky finishes, I will say, the run-ins, the disqualifications. I was very pleased with the result. Money in the Bank is probably my third favorite pay-per-view of the year, behind only WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble. And this one, again, did not disappoint. Again, quick rundown of the card. Alberto Del Rio retained the World Heavyweight Championship against Dolph Ziggler after an outside interference by AJ that caused Dolph to be disqualified. And then, of course, John Cena successfully retained his WWE title against Mark Henry. No outside interference, but I was still very disappointed by it. I was really hoping that Mark Henry would have gotten the win. However, I did predict that John Cena would retain. Let's see. The World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank ladder match was won by Damian Sandow. My good buddy Buddha713 actually called that one correctly. I actually had Wade Barrett winning that match. So again, I might be a little bit rusty about this. And of course, Randy Orton won the WWE Money in the Bank ladder match. Again, Buddha713, he got that one right. So I guess he's pretty good this year. I still called correctly called, might I add, the winner of the Royal Rumble a couple years ago. But we won't get into that. Anyway, and this year too, but someone else was wrong. But anyway, we'll get into that. Like I said, Money in the Bank, it was an excellent pay-per-view. I highly suggest, if you were not able to watch it, find a way to watch it. I'm definitely going to be looking for that to come out on Blu-ray later on. Then they followed up with a very hot pay-per-view with an equally hot Raw. I was a little disappointed in the crowd at the Barclays Center. I believe this was the first Raw at the Barclays Center. I believe they have had a pay-per-view before. This is the first time that they had a Raw at the Barclays Center. They were hot at spots. I figured they'd be a little bit more excited to see Rob Van Dam, but they were not. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I still compare every crowd to that after WrestleMania crowd. That was one of the hottest crowds I've ever seen in WWE, and every Raw crowd is going to be compared to that, especially after a pay-per-view. Anyway, Brad Maddox had been named the new general manager of Raw, and he allowed John Cena to choose his opponent for SummerSlam. And it was weird. I'm not sure about Brad Maddox yet. He's definitely a cowardly heel-ish authority figure. I'm not sure if he's full heel yet. He was hanging around Vicky, but he never really did anything that was despicable. Mostly he was just incompetent and a suck-up. That was after he came back after being taken out by the Shield, when he was completely and utterly despicable. But guy's got a good look. Apparently WWE is really hot on him right now. That's why they're giving him so much mic time, which he's really good on the mic. I will give him that. He's good on the mic. But he's still an incompetent heel-ish authority figure. I really want more of a straight-laced babyface authority figure that's being pressured by management to do heelish things. But again, that's just me personally. I think that Raw's had a good run of heel managers, and now we either need no manager or more of a babyface manager. But Brad Maddox gave John Cena the option of picking his opponent for SummerSlam. John Cena would then think about it for the rest of the night. We opened up with a really good match of Randy Orton versus Fandango, after Orton pretty much said he didn't care who John Cena picked as his opponent. He would be cashing in his Money in the Bank at the most opportune time to take the WWE title off him or whomever it was going to be the champion. That came out weird, but basically Orton cut a really good heel-ish but not 100% heel, which is why I think that he was ultimately a good choice for the winner of the WWE Money in the Bank ladder match. Orton and Fandango had a really good match. There was all sorts of strange things happening. This Raw was mostly about fallout from the pay-per-view. Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee finally broke up. Dolph broke up with AJ after she cost him the World Heavyweight Championship, and then AJ presented to have a crazy moment, and Big E came down and ruined the return match of A1 Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio after AJ Lee cost Dolph the match. So it looks like we're going into Dolph chasing Alberto Del Rio for the title, with Big E chasing Dolph to beat him up for hurting AJ. I think that this is definitely a good move for both Big E Langston and Dolph Ziggler. I'm glad that Alberto Del Rio is back to being full heel, but I'm not sure if this continuing on this storyline with all these players is what's best. I think that they need to come up with some baby faces on the SmackDown brand to go up against Alberto Del Rio. Let Dolph Ziggler just fight Big E, and then once Dolph Ziggler is done with Big E, then we revisit Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio. But they probably want Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio versus maybe Big E Langston, triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship match, which I don't agree with. But anyway, the other big development was that Paul Heyman finally betrayed CM Punk at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, costing him the briefcase with the WWE Championship contract. Paul Heyman publicly addressed the WWE Universe. He said that it was not just CM Punk that was the best in the world. It was CM Punk and Paul Heyman that was best in the world. This was magic moment on the mic for these two characters. I am really looking forward to it because there was it was definitely the best promo I have seen all year. And of course, who's involved? CM Punk and Paul Heyman. I don't know what it takes. Those guys have got to find some way to instill this type of mic skills in the next generation. These guys, the new ones, a lot of them are great in the ring, but just like a Curtis Axel, great in the ring, got a good look, can't really talk. I mean, the Wyatts came out, Brad Wyatt, aka Husky Harris. How long has he been in the business? And now he's finally finding his voice on the mic. I'm thinking that these guys have it physically, they just don't have it on the mic. And I think that if Paul Heyman and CM Punk can do anything for this, especially for the next generation, is to teach them how to speak on the mic. Anywho's, we had a verbal confrontation between these two guys, and then there was a physical confrontation between A1 Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. Brock Lesnar just destroyed CM Punk and left him in a heap. He was carried off by the local the ringside doctor and the medical staff. He's being reported injured by WWE.com. But this is going to be probably feud of the year. CM Punk versus Paul Heyman's guys, and I just cannot wait to the next confrontation. And then finally, that brings us to the wrestling main event, by the way, of RVD versus Y2J. Excellent match. Definitely 4 stars. Top match of Raw so far. I think that Rob Van Dam really got himself in good shape for this run at WWE, and I'm really looking forward to what else that he has in store for us. Again, that brings us to the main event, and that's John Cena choosing his opponent for SummerSlam. The entire arena was chanting yes, 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 and Daniel Bryan, so that's who we chose. No big surprise there. This is the match. This is not quite the match that I wanted. I really wanted Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler, but maybe that's gonna have to wait, especially since now Ziggler's a face and Daniel Bryan's a face for sure. Also, I was thinking that maybe Daniel Bryan would at least address Kane being taken out by the Wyatt family. That also did not happen. So I'm thinking that actually Daniel Bryan wasn't even on Raw until the end of the show. So that was a little strange. But in any case, it is clear Daniel Bryan is still over. The entire arena wanted him to be the man on the other side of the ring for the WWE Championship. So it'll be Daniel Bryan versus John Cena for the WWE title at SummerSlam. Again, I think that that's probably what everyone in the internet community, people like me, we figured this was going to happen eventually. I'm looking forward to seeing the story build, mostly because, again, John Cena has a habit of running down his opponents, but they've all been almost exclusively, I mean, John Cena runs down the heels, no doubt. I want to see what he can do against a babyface, someone that's just not universally hated by him, and someone that the WWE Universe is not saying, hate this guy. So I'm really looking forward to WWE going forward. Wow, man, this video was supposed to be short, but ended up being long. I'm really glad to be back, and I'm glad I got my setup at least jury-rigged back together. Expect me to be back on my regularly scheduled Saturday updates going forward. Hopefully. It feels good to be back. This has been That Dirty Spoons, the IWC, signing off.